Sorry there, I thought I might have been on mute, and we're going to start that over here again. Welcome to Training Tuesday today. My name's Drew Roby, and I'll be filling in for Heidi while she is out. I am the Marketing Program Specialist here at Dayton Superior, and we're going to go over those couple housekeeping items here to start. So just a reminder, you are muted, so we can get through the presentation without any disruptions, but please feel free to provide us with any questions that you may have throughout the presentation. And at the end, we'll have a short Q&A session. You can provide those questions through the chat functionality in Zoom. And as a reminder, each of our webinars are recorded and placed on our Dayton Superior YouTube channel, as well as on our DaytonSuperior.com website. Just search Training Tuesday and you will see that link to all of our past webinars. Today's presentation is intended for training purposes only, and you can find technical and product information mentioned in today's training on DaytonSuperior.com. So for those of you that are not familiar with all that Dayton Superior has to offer, we don't just deal in chemicals, but we are the leading provider of engineered solutions and products for the concrete construction industry. We specialize in accessories, chemicals, and forming, and have proven results through our Simon's Forming shoring portfolio with systems that are adaptable, strong, and save labor costs, as well as in concrete repair and restoration products specifically formulated to meet the design specifications and new construction or in retrofit and repair needs. In addition, we provide bridge deck, rebar splicing, precast, and tilt-up construction engineering solutions, products, and training geared for your needs. In today's topic, we will be discussing understanding chemical data sheets with Matthew Carter, our Technical Service Manager. Matthew has been in the construction industry for over 20 years, working on-site as well as at the dealer and distributor levels, and has fulfilled additional roles that include sales, managing a form rental yard and rebar shop, as well as doing operations management. In 2012, he joined Dayton Superior's Technical Services team, supporting the chemical division, and has been integral in helping customers with their technical product and project questions, as well as leading numerous training initiatives throughout the company. Let's welcome Matthew as he teaches us about the importance of understanding chemical product data. Matthew, take it away.
Drew, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
All right. So my name's Matthew, and we're going to talk a little bit about understanding the chemical data sheets. A really fun topic, and it's one that's kind of near and dear to our hearts. So let's get started, right? So overview, what are technical data sheets? Often you'll hear them referred to as T.D.S's, just for short. We're going to speak briefly about the safety data sheets, as a lot of people might know them as MSDS's. Where to find key points and where to find the data sheets in general. So it usually starts with, I bought the product, I'm on the job site, or I need to submit a bunch of information to get a product on site, or I have to find this and send it on to the engineer of record or owner. And so if you're on the project and you have a bucket or a pail or a bag and you're starting to read on it and you're looking for certain information, it's not necessarily always on there. This is a really good example. Here's the Clear Cure VOC J7WB. It's a really awesome cure that we have. And if you look in the middle picture, you'll see dissipates without UV. And then you also see it stated again in 2 different languages. We sell into markets that have predominantly French and Spanish speakers, so we have to have that information on our products. So if you look over on the left-hand side, you'll see mixing, cleanup, storage. You'll also see that repeated in the other languages as well. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the safety information. That doesn't necessarily leave all the space in the world for including everything that could possibly be on a bucket or a bag. So we'll say, have you looked at the technical data sheet or the safety data sheet for the specific information you're looking for, such as application, preparation, items like that. So the technical data sheet, or TDS, it provides a good basic information on the description of the product, what it's used for, what specific features that one may have, testing properties for those who are VOC restricted areas, the volatile organic compound that's contained in that product, estimating, which is huge, the coverage rates that comes with it, the packaging that's available, whether it's drums, totes, or pails, or in the case of like an epoxy, what size cartridges, or if it's available in bulk, super sacks or 50-pound bags, or what size bags come in for powders. Talks about storage. Can this product be frozen? Should it be protected from freezing? Mixing, huge one, very important information there. Placement, preparation, cleanup, limitations, all the fun information you would need to successfully place your product or use it in the field will be located on the technical data sheet. This is also a really good place to look for submittal information because we'll mention it here in a moment, but features, properties, that type of information is going to be critical for the record to review it and understand it and area of their project. Here's an example, and again, this goes back to the J7WB. 3 pages of information. You can't fit all this onto a pail. That's why it's going to be, on a separate data sheet. We do have a QR code that you can snap a picture of, and it takes you to the website so you can easily find it. But it's going to talk about the description, use, features, and you'll see that over here on the left-hand side. Properties all the way over to page 2 where you've got cleanup and limitations and then all the other fun information. There's a lot that goes on with a data sheet other than what can just be what to look for, right? And we've mentioned what's on there. Here's 3 examples of just the first column off the first page of 3 different products. And you've got Pro Anchor Elite, which is a 2-component epoxy. Got the Sure Grip High Performance Grout in the middle, which is a cementitious grout, and then we've got a water-based cure and seal on the right. First, you look at the description. It kind of tells you what the product is, right? Pro Anchor Elite's a 2-component moisture-tolerant epoxy. The 1315 EF, it's a 30% solids cure and seal. Go down, you look at the use. Where is it used at? Why are you using it? And the features behind it. What is a key differentiator between this product and maybe another one? And then third-party certification. So if that product's been evaluated by a third party for specific use, like on the right-hand side, you see a little green leaf, Mass Certified Green, and we'll discuss that here a little bit later on, but it was sent out to a third party. They evaluated it for a specific item, and then once it got approved, we like to include that on the data sheet. It makes it very easy for sending it in. On the left-hand side, the UL and the water quality stamp, that's an NSF 61 approval, potable water drinking standard. You will see it typically listed in the properties, and you can see that kind of at the bottom down here, UL certified. And then over here, you'll see it also noted on the Sure Grip High Performance Grout that it's been NSF 61 approved, and that tells you what company did the certification. Gets into the properties as well, what testing's been done against it, what key characteristics or you can look for, and then as you get further down, the VOC or volatile organic compound. And that's going to be for the people in the restricted areas or might have a specific, you can only use a product within this certain range. And not all data sheets, I like to think of them as living documents. The same data sheet from 10 years ago might not necessarily be the same as now, and this is a very good example. Way back in the day, and again, this is probably only 10, 20 years ago, you'd get a faxed data sheet. The guy at the front counter might have the same one in a file sitting on his desk for 5 years straight, and he hands it out to everyone that comes in the door or shares it with everyone. And I've definitely seen people submitting data sheets in for projects with old information. And when we're talking to people, like, hey, have you looked at the current data sheet? And then, as you're talking, things are maybe not aligning perfectly with maybe where it's located. Down in the bottom right-hand corner is a file date. and that file date tells you when it was updated or created. So on the left, that one's from 2013. The bottom right one is from 2023. And if you just look at them, there's, it's the same product, but you might see that there's some formatting differences. And something else that you might want to look at is you've got 2 pages of information on the first data sheet and 3 pages on the next one. So there's been some additions, maybe some updates that they would find in. So that kind of goes over the technical data sheets, right? That's going to be the best information as far as application, mixing, placement, properties, all that fun stuff is going to be located there. As we start moving on, then you've got MSDSs or S.D.Ss, and everything kind of transitioned over back in 20. Everybody kind of went from the MSDS or Material Safety Data Sheet to just the Safety Data Sheet. But the Safety Data Sheet was GHS compliant, which is the Global Harmonized System. And it's a consistent 16-section format. That way, if I'm looking at a data sheet from Dayton Superior versus anyone else, I should be able to find the same or similar information, depending on whatever product I'm looking at, in the same section. Right, so sections 1 through 8 is just general information, identification, hazards, composition, and then a lot of safe handling procedures and emergency control measures. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, the OSHA does have a brief on it. It's a really good document just to kind of review. Sections 9 through 11 and 16, technical scientific information, physical properties, toxicological information, and then sections 12 through 15, consistent with the UN globally harmonized system. That way, if you're shipping something overseas or into another country, everybody's working with the same information. There's a lot of different information. Remember, 16 different categories. Here they are, right? It's a lot of information to kind of cover. Identification, hazard identification. A really big one is first aid for people just casually looking. First aid, PPE, or protective items that you should be looking or considering. Safe handling and storage, and then getting down into transportation information, right? I've got a couple of drums of this stuff, and I've got to load it on a truck. Do I need to placard it? How does it need to ship? You can actually find that information on the SDS. And just taking a quick look at an example, this is the Clean Strip J1A. And again, this isn't all the pages, it's just the first couple. But it does get into, on the left-hand side, it tells you, hey, this is the trade name of the product and manufacturer, supplier, and it's got emergency contact information. It goes into hazard identification here in section 2, tells you what to look out for. Composition, and we'll discuss that one here in just a moment. And then all the other fun stuff like firefighting, first aid measures, and then transportation. So as we're going through submittals or talking to contractors or talking to specifiers, they say, hey, I need something that is water-based or petroleum-based, or and kind of run the gamut. It is pretty easy to go and look at the data sheet to get a general idea of what it is. So if you're talking about the Clean Strip J2, you can go to the safety data sheet and go to section 3 and say, hey, that's petroleum distillates, right? That's going to be an oil-based product, right? So you can kind of get a broad view of, oh, oil-based, water-based, this is what it is. Section 9, physical properties. Another common question is, hey, what's the solid content of a specific liquid product? And you'll say, oh, it's 25% or 20%. And they're like, well, can you give me something that says that? Well, it's actually stated in the safety data sheet. If you go to section 9, the physical properties, this is the Ultra Seal EF, and it says contains less than 100 grams per liter. That's a VOC content. Solvent content, in this case, it's water, and then the solid content, which is 24.5, right? Give or take. So a lot of really good information is included in the safety data sheet that is readily available. I say it's readily available. Where is it? Where do you find it? How can I get to it? And there's 3 simple ways that we're going to show you here. Most all involve our website. So if you go to DaytonSuperior.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, type in 1107. You're going to get a list of responses. And in those list of responses, the first one's going to be one of them is going to be the 1107 Advantage Grout. You'll see the little bag. It's got the name right here. And this will be a link to what's called a landing page. And I'll show you that one here in a moment. Under that, though, is a technical data sheet and safety data sheet and DOT approval. So it's a kind of one-stop shop for a lot of really good information on that. But as you go further down in the listings, you'll see, hey, you know what? If I just want a straight link to the 1107 safety data sheet, there you go. Or the technical data sheet, and you can go directly there instead of having to kind of navigate through the other. Alternatively, you can use the drop-down menus and get to the product page. This is on the Pro Anchor Elite, and it's got a wealth of information on it. So not only does this product page, or product landing page, it's got the Pro Anchor Elite, and it talks about the product on the right-hand side. Data sheet is readily listed on the upper left-hand corner. You'll see the arrow pointing to it. Safety data sheet is also there, but not only that, you can get into marketing brochures and the test reports for this product. You'll see the UES report similar to an ICC report. That way an engineer can review that product, see what it's capable of, and run calculations or specifications. And again, as you go down, you'll see specification assistance. That's a quick link that you can just select, and it'll bring up a quick page, and it'll either give you a phone number and or a quick email that would probably go direct to us and say, hey, I have a question on this, and you can type it in and send it to us, and either myself or my colleagues will address it for you. And then further down, you've got the DOT approvals. And then finally, you can use just a straight resources. So instead of looking for the product, you can just go into under publications, look at reference materials, and then either pull up safety data sheets or technical. There's several different ways you can find the same information on our website. We try to make it easy. Kind of go into a little bit of what we do and how we meet the market. Back in 2016, OSHA put out their standard for the respirable silica standard. Right? So it said, hey, here's the permissible limits that someone should be exposed to during their work. Pretty extensive. A lot of information came out of that time, and a lot of new products and specifications born from that. You know, dust control measures and everything. Dayton Superior responded to it by saying, okay, well, let's look at the products that we have. And so they actually ran an indoor warehouse scenario where they mixed 3 different powdered products and did research into it and said, hey, what are we doing and how does this look? And so we went through and did the research, and you can actually find that at DaytonSuperior.com, the OSHA respirable regulation and compliance. And so, you know, new regulations come out. Dayton does their appropriate research and then puts the information out. That green leaf we were talking about earlier. So this is a really fun topic. So the green leaf, in this case, the third party is Mass Certified Green. There's a couple different third party testers that do this, but it's testing it against the CDPH version 1.0. It's mostly for LEED projects. You'll see it kind of pop up for Petals and Living Building Challenge and a couple other items. LEED was kind of the one that kind of brought this out, LEED V4. We have a lot of products that we have tested against this, and there's even more coming out in the next few months. So we kind of built around our EF, Earth-Friendly product line, and we've kind of been building out from there. We now have anchoring gels, bonding agents, bond breakers, cures, densifiers, floor coatings, injection resins, and surface treatment. A lot of products that we built around this. And while someone might argue, hey, you know, this form release isn't going to be an integral part of the project after the walls and roof are up, it doesn't matter. For application on the job site, a lot of these specifications are calling for it. And I'd say we have a very robust, it's 26 plus items on that spec, and I think we're adding at least half that again to really round out our offering on it. So a little bit more on the low-emitting material. So this is LEED, right? Leadership in Environmental Energy Design. I said that in the right order. So LEED has indoor air quality, and they want low-emitting materials. So imagine if you're like in a new car and you're like, man, this new car has this really new car smell. Well, imagine that for every desk, carpet, drape, anything that would be included in an office or a classroom type setting. LEED indoor air quality said, you know what, we really want to limit that. We don't want a bunch of chemical off-gassing going on. So they looked to the CDPH version 1.2. Before it was just a VOC standard, right? It was just we want it less than 100 grams per liter, and they pointed in that direction. Well, they said, hey, you know, there's other things that are out there that can help meet that. We're going to also specify this test. It's the California Department of Health, and they take a product, they put it into a vacuum chamber, and they test everything that comes off of it. It's pretty rigorous, and so they built that into their new standard. And so we are compliant with it. We have a lot of really great products that we can offer as a package onto that job, and we know how they interact with one another, as opposed to kind of cobbling or stitching together different products across different lines. Resources. DaytonSuperior.com is full of a lot of really good information. There's who to call maps. So if I'm in the Northeast or I'm in the West Coast and you want to know who to contact, we have maps that kind of detail who your dealer sales manager is, who your customer service contacts are, the technical sales reps for specific product lines. They're all kind of outlined in those regional maps that you see there. If you want specific help with a product line like accessories, chemicals, or forming, feel free to reach out and call one of those numbers below. The chemicals customer service line, I believe it's option 2, will come directly into either myself or my colleague Nathan. We'll be happy to answer your call and do our best to get you a speedy response. We also have an e-commerce website and the product pages that we discussed, where they host the safety data sheets and the technical data sheets. Need more LEED information, because not everything is based around the not everything's based around the VOC content or the CDPH testing. You also have recycled contents and everything else. So you can go on our website. If it doesn't readily list that information, you can just say, hey, here's my project, here's the product I'm looking at, please send me what you have for this. There is a VOC and shelf life. So if I'm a distributor and I'm looking at, hey, I've got this product, how long can I keep it on my shelf? Or, hey, can I sell it into this specific market? We have a quick reference guide for you on that. We also have training programs like today. Today is a Training Tuesday. It's going to be hosted on a website. If you need specific training, we often have contractors who might need site-specific training. We offer that. We can accommodate that. Either we do it remotely, or we can have a technical sales rep show up to your job site and help host that for you. We also do dealer or contractor-specific training. So if you ever need additional information, or you know what, if I'm just driving to a job site and I've got questions on a particular product, don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll give you a quick primer on it. That leads into technical support. That's what we are here for. We've got robust technical support on the forming division. They've got lots of engineers who are very intelligent. Chemical, that's myself, my colleagues as well. We'll offer you as best as we can on liquids, powders, and epoxies. And then you've got the accessories and precast lines. And specification. We have a person that their sole job is to get products onto the DOT, and if you've got questions about Buy American, and all the fun new requirements that are being asked for there, if technical services like myself can't answer it, we have a person who specializes in that. And then third-party testing compliances, whether it be Mass Certified Green, Water Quality Association, Underwriters Laboratories, we do that. Additional resources. If you're like, man, that's a lot of really good information, but I need something, maybe I can carry with me, or I want to get certified in something. I would highly encourage OSHA 10, OSHA 30. Very good generic information for the construction industry for the 10-hour, and it gets a lot more detailed as you go into the 30-hour. If you are dealing with safety data sheets on a regular basis and you want to learn more about them, There are online safety data sheet hazard communication. You can get them online. You can do them in person. Very, very good information to have. And then if you've got job site specific questions, I would encourage you to reach out to your environmental health and safety office. A lot of larger companies may have someone that they use or a third-party consultant that they might reach out to. With that, I'm going to say thank you for your time and your attendance and listening. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to ask now, or don't hesitate to send a quick email or call, and we can discuss it. With that, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Drew.
Thank you, Matthew. And thanks for all that information you shared. Thank you to everybody on the phone who took the time to come to our Training Tuesday today. We're, like Matthew mentioned, we'll open it up for any questions that you might have right now. Just use that chat box in the Zoom feature, and we'll take a look at getting those answered for you. And while you're doing that, we just want to remind you that these Training Tuesdays are intended for quick, insightful trainings, and if you require some more in-depth or customized trainings, just like Matthew mentioned, feel free to reach out to us at training@DaytonSuperior.com. We'll be happy to accommodate you there. And also just a reminder, we do these trainings each week on new topics with our different product experts. Take a look here and see if there's anything coming through. But it looks like we don't have any questions at this time, but yep, feel free to reach out to us or to Matthew. And today's presentation has been recorded and will be available on our YouTube and DaytonSuperior.com later today or early tomorrow morning. So thank you very much and have a great Tuesday.